A lot of people ask me, Beef, should I pull on this banner? Is it worth spending my Dragon Stones on this banner? To which I typically reply, probably not. So today, as you can see on the screen here, we are looking at a Super Dragonball Heroes crossover summon, yay! And it's all sorts of monkey craziness. It's a barrel of monkeys, as one might say. There's really not much to say here. There's a ton of new units. About 6. A bunch of Dokkan Awakenings for older Super Dragonball units. The only issue I have with this celebration so far is that they don't EZA some of the free-to-play hero units to make them a little bit better. But, you know, it is what it is. Another thing that bothers me is, why do we not have an LR Dragon Ball Heroes unit? Seems kind of ripe for the picking. Like, they didn't necessarily have to make it, like, brawly. There's a Vegeta on this banner as well. And just because there's a Vegeta on this banner, that means that we're probably going to get #1 in the Play Store. So, more Dragon Stones, yay. Something notable about this banner is that when you do a multi-summon, as you are probably well aware by this point, you get a free SSR at the end of the multi every time. Because there's no other general pool SSR units on this banner, it's always going to be a Super Dragon Ball Heroes unit when pulling on this banner, which is spectacular, especially if you're a new player to the game, because a lot of the units here, even if you can't Dokkan Awaken the units yet, they're really strong. So you can pretty much any card on this banner, if you're new, or even if you've been playing for a little while and you kind of have some decent teams built up, a lot of these cards are going to be jackpot cards for you just because of how strong they are. All right, let's go ahead and have a look at the handy dandy scouter here. First up, of course, they're going to put Vegeta front and center because he's the big boy. Everybody loves Vegeta. Everybody wants to be Vegeta. Let's have a look at our SSR reader. So he's the first of the group here who has crossover category leader skill. Key +3, HP attack and defense plus 170%. To be totally honest with you, the crossover category isn't great. Let's switch away from Vegeta here for a second so we can have a look. As you can see, he is, of course, the primary leader. There's also sub-leaders, the Bardock, the Super Saiyan 4 Bardock, and the free-to-play Salsa. The only LR is the Goku and Aurelie. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but it doesn't matter. Still not bad for an LR, because of the whole double key thing. It's pretty self-sufficient. You can do a lot with this particular unit. I don't know if you'd really run it alongside Super Dragon Ball Heroes units, because you'll notice that there is a bit of a theme here with the passives for a lot of these characters, in which they buff or get buffed by various other categories, specifically Giant 8 Power or Crossover. So, I don't know. It's tough to get the most out of them because it swaps a lot. So you really only consider using these particular, using this particular category when you're running Super Dragon Ball Hero units. More than likely the Super Saiyan 4s, or at least Saiyans in general. In terms of what's on this particular category that's useful, the Janemba is actually not too bad. It's like baby Janemba, I believe. Golden Cooler is also pretty good. Super Fu. I believe the Demigra also got a Dokkan Awakening, I think. The OG Intelligence Demigra. from like way back from the very first Xenoverse one. I don't know if he got it during this one. I'd have to double check. But that's really not worth it right now because we don't want to have this video go on for too long. Okay, so as you can see here, there's plenty of units, although there's no guessing. There's no guessing what would be the best yet for these, but obviously it's probably going to be the Super Saiyan 4s. Although, now that I think about it, there's no Super Saiyan 4s on here. But he's on the crossover. I guess they haven't updated this yet to add the Super Saiyan 4s. Okay, there are some Super Saiyan 4s on here. But not the ones that Dokkan Awaken? Oh, no, wait, there's Vegeta. Okay, weird. I guess it's just too early in the morning. Alright, let's go back to Vegeta. Raises defense for 1 turn, so that's an extra 30% defensive bonus. Makes him a little bit tankier. Attack and defense plus 140%. Very, very strong. I'm assuming the 4 is for like Super Saiyan 4, because they're kind of cheeky like that. Crossover category allies, key +1, and attack and defense plus 20%. I believe he also buffs himself in that particular case because he's also crossover category. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, that's even more that he gets. Giant 8 power category allies, key +1, attack and defense plus 20%. High chance, I believe that's a coin flip basically, yep, 50%, of evading enemies, super attack, and countering with tremendous power. Sort of like Gogeta's shtick, but I guess they're giving that to him because he's Super Saiyan 4. Tough to say. This guy would definitely be a good pick for your Fuse Fighter team. I guess. Wait, why Fuse Fighter? I thought it was just Fusion. Am I going crazy? You can make a case for this guy on most of the categories that he's on. Except maybe. Oh, wait. It's because he's Vegeta. I should probably not do these analysis videos at like 4 in the morning with like 4 hours of sleep. But anyway. And I'm looking at his link skills. Oh my gosh. Alright, well, we're already like 7 minutes into this, so whatever, let's just keep going. We'll pretend that never happened. Potara, Time Travelers, Kamehameha, Dragonball Heroes, Final Trump Card, Battle of Wits, Giant 8 Power, Crossover. You can probably make an argument for putting this Vegeta on pretty much all those teams, really. He's extremely, extremely strong. But you're going to obviously get the most mileage out of this character if you run him on Dragonball Heroes or Giant 8 Power teams, because he'll have more of those units to work with, and they'll be stronger as a result of working with him. Speaking of Giant 8 Power, let's have a quick look here at the Giant 8 Power category. There's a Intelligence Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta that we don't have yet, but we should be getting within like 2 months or so. In the meanwhile, the Super Saiyan 4 Broly, which we'll be talking about next, I believe, is a leader for this skill, so we don't get to sit there and wonder where Gogeta is and how we can run the category, because it's there. Yay. There's also some subs for it, but we don't talk about that. Tons of LRs on this particular one. I don't know if you'd really run Baby with it, but the LR Vegeta and the LR Goku, absolutely. Like, you definitely would want at least one or both of those on a Giant 8 Power team. And then, of course, anything that's like a Saiyan is gonna wind up on this particular category. You're probably just mostly going to run Super Saiyan 4s on this particular team because they link so well together. There's really no reason for you not to. Alright. Just my suggestion anyway. Alright. So Vegeta, really strong. Jackpot card. Moving on. Super Saiyan 4 Brody. As if we didn't see this dude coming. Let's go ahead and switch back over to the handy dandy SR. God, I can't talk. The handy dandy SSR viewer. Giant 8 power category, key plus 3, HP attack defense plus 130%. I don't know why they didn't make it higher, but I mean, it still makes you capable of running the category, so I guess that's fine until you get Gogeta. Attack and defense plus 140% when performing a super attack. Not my favorite passive in the world, because it makes it harder to justify putting him in the first slot and around, especially if there's a lot of attacks coming towards that first slot before you can do a super. So you kind of have to like relegate him to either the second slot or as a floater. But he's still going to put out a lot of damage because he launches an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack when there's another giant 8 power category ally attacking the same turn. So if you're running him on the giant 8 power category, which, why wouldn't you? He's probably going to have other Super Saiyan 4s in the round with him. So basically you get an additional attack that you coin flip, and it'd be more than likely is going to be a super attack. He already does immense damage and greatly lowers defense, which isn't super valuable, but it means that the rest of your team can do a little bit extra damage, so not a bad deal. His categories are kind of disappointing. Crossover, Pure Saiyans, Time Travelers, Dragonball Heroes, Giant 8 Power. Probably the only ones that you would strongly consider running this Brawly on is Dragonball Heroes and Giant 8 Power. Pure Saiyans, maybe if you don't have something better. Like if you're sort of new, or you're kind of like an intermediate player, like you've been playing for like a year or so and you don't have great teams, but you have a Pure Saiyans lead and you want to run a Pure Saiyans team, and the rest of your stuff is like free to play Garbo and like the dredges of what you've managed to pull up until that point. This guy's gonna pull his weight on a Pure Saiyans team, especially if you can get him playing alongside another Super Saiyan 4. Not even just from this particular event, but from anything else. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, any of the million of Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, because they know that those are the only ones that sell. Let's see here. There's really not much to say here. He's pretty straightforward. But you're mostly only going to be using him in, like, Giant 8 Power and Dragon Ball Heroes. Alright, moving on. Super Saiyan 4 Bardock. Oh boy, for some fucking reason, they decided not to Dokkan Awaken him. I guess they're just going to save for another 2-year wait and then Dokkan Awaken him. I really don't know. But let's have a quick look at him based on what he has currently. Crossover category, sub leader, 120% HP attack defense. Immense damage to enemy and steal super attack. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't really consider that very highly. It can be useful from time to time depending on the content, but a lot of content you wander into in this game, especially end-game content, you're not able to stun or steal super attacks, so you're kinda in a bad spot. Because that's useless. I'd much rather have like a buff, or at the very least like a debuff. Preferably a buff, like a defensive buff, and then it makes me even tankier. Starting to see a theme here. 140% attack and defense, plus an additional attack and defense, plus 40% when there are another 4 or more crossover category allies on the team. Not difficult to accomplish, considering that you're probably going to be running this unit alongside other Super Saiyan 4s from the crossover category. A lot of the Super Saiyan 4s from this particular event specifically. Attacks effective against all types when HP is 80% or more. Performs a critical hit when HP is 90% or more. So there is an obvious benefit to keeping your HP high when you're running this particular unit on the team. So for that reason, I'd say that this is a unit that you might want to consider passing on if you're doing endgame content, where putting the wrong unit in the wrong spot will cost you like a quarter or more of your HP to like a super attack. So maybe not like Super Battle Room. But he should still pull his weight because he's already doing like 180%. He has almost 200% attack and defense, so long as you have 4 crossover category allies. Pretty strong, pretty strong. Can't imagine what he'll look like when he Dokkan awakens in like a year when they do another one of these. But it's probably gonna be the same. But they'll probably just kind of like bump down the HP requirements to make him more valuable in endgame content. Okay. Oh, if I can actually click the right thing. There we go. Moving on. Bardock. He's okay. Super Saiyan 4 Gohan. Like Bardock, for some reason, they decided to curse this poor man with no Dokkan Awakening and the intelligence typing. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a fan of physical and intelligence units because they are underwhelming. But this Gohan is okay. You see he's a little bit tanky. Giant 8 power sub-leader, so if you get him and you don't get Brawly, you can still technically run the category. Immense damage and massively lowers defense, which is okay, but 80% defense lower, that's pretty wild, not gonna lie. Attack and defense plus 140%, there's that theme again. Reduces damage received by 40% when there are 4 or more giant 8 power categories allies on the team. You are more than likely going to be running this character along 4 or more giant 8 power category allies, so you are going to get that extra damage reduction. So this dude's super tanky. Like, imagine what he's going to be like when he Dokkan Awakens in a year, just like Bardock. High chance of stunning the attacked enemy when performing a super attack. That's only that's a coin flip, which is not too bad, but again, the value of stuns and seals tends to decrease as you get deeper into endgame content, but that's a nice little bonus, considering that this dude is quite clearly just tanky. Categories: Hybrid Saiyans, Time Travelers, Goku's Family, Dragonball Heroes, Giant 8 Power, and Crossover, about what you'd expect. All of these guys seem to have Time Travelers tacked onto them, and the other categories that make sense for their particular character. So it's tough. It's tough to justify putting this unit on most teams that it's on. Like, if you're running a bunch of Super Saiyan 4s for Goku's Family, like, you could probably justify it. But for the most part, Dragon Ball Heroes, Giant 8 Power, and Crossover are where you're going to be slotting this particular unit. The other ones, not so much. Alright. Moving on. Next up, we've got our old pal, Debura. He is now a demon god, apparently. Which is great, I guess. One thing you'll notice is that he's AGL. Extreme AGL, like Extreme Tech, is one of those typings that needed more love. And he gets quite a bit of love. Dragon Ball Heroes category sub leader, immense damage with high chance of stunning the enemy. That's a coin flip, not too bad for 2 turns, especially. It's pretty good when it does activate. Attack and defense plus 100%, plus an additional attack and defense plus 100%, and attacked enemies attack and defense negative 20% for 2 turns when facing only 1 enemy. There's a lot of content, especially endgame content, where you're going to be facing only 1 enemy. or you're going to be facing one enemy for a decent amount of time. So this unit, if you're running him in his applicable categories or applicable like monotype, he is going to definitely pull his weight. He gets an additional 100% defense, which is crazy, and a high chance, that's 50%, of evading enemies' attack, including super attack when facing 2 or more enemies. So he gets a little something no matter what is currently happening. So if he's playing against one enemy, you're going to get attack and defense plus 100%, and a nice little debuff for just completely for free. But if there's 2 or more enemies, he's going to be tanky just because he's going to be evading attacks and having that extra defense for when he does get nailed. A coin flip for evading enemy attack, including super attack, that's fucking wild. Like, really strong. Link skills, not amazing. Loyalty, like, I don't even remember seeing that one. Shocking speed, brutal beatdown, fear and faith, nightmare, shattering the limit. Those are the ones that you're going to see the most. So, I mean, I guess it's not too bad, but you kind of have to run him along other units that are like this. But gosh, like, I can't offhand think of a whole lot of units that you would run on his categories with that he would benefit a lot from links, these particular link skills. Categories is what you'd expect: Dragon Ball Seekers, Time Travelers, Terrifying Conquerors, Dragon Ball Heroes, and Crossover. Siblings Bond is because, if I'm not mistaken, he's brother to Toa. So we will see that here in just a bit. Speaking of Toa, still pretty good if you are struggling with extreme agility, Super Battle Road. Then more than likely you're gonna want this guy, because he definitely seems like he's gonna pull his weight in an SPR scenario. He almost kind of seems like he's tailor-made for it. But anyway, let's move on. Really good card, really good card. Demon Goddess Toa. It's unfortunate they made her intelligence, but I mean, I guess it makes sense considering her background. She's apparently pretty smart. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Dragon Ball Heroes, so Dragon Ball Heroes Subleader, attack and defense, HP attack and defense plus 150%. So that's quite strong. I think it's a little bit higher than usual. Lowers attack and seal super attack with her super attack here. I don't think I need to beat the dead horse on the super attack sealing stuff. Attack and defense plus 100% completely for free. All allies key plus 3 and attack and defense plus 30%. Which, I mean, you can attack her pretty much on any of her categories and she's going to pull her weight just simply because she's going to hit harder, she's going to be at least moderately tanky, and everybody gets key plus 3 and attack and defense plus 30%. Just for her being there, like, that makes her extremely strong support. High chance, I believe it's 50%, yep. An additional attack plus 10% for all allies. So you can flip a coin, and if it lands on heads, you're more than likely going to get that 10% extra attack. I mean, I'd have made it a little bit higher to make it worth it, but it is what it is. Another coin flip for an additional defense plus 10% for all allies. Extreme class allies get attack and defense plus 50%. And recovers 50% HP when HP is 50% or less once only. So this feels like another unit that's kind of tailor-made for Super Battle Road. Extremely powerful. Her link skills don't really do her any favors, but considering that she basically exists for nothing but support, that's really not too bad, actually. You can kind of ignore this stuff. Like, you're not going to get a lot of mileage from her link skills, sadly. I don't know why they didn't make her link better with Debura, but it is what it is. Peppy Gals, you could definitely make an argument for this character on Peppy Gal's team because she's going to do a lot of damage and she's going to be really good support. Dragon Ball Seekers, Time Travelers, Siblings Bond, Terrifying Conquerors, Dragon Ball Heroes, Battle Blitz, crossover, about what you would expect from a unit like this. It's kind of tough to justify this character on most of those categories. Maybe Peppy Gals, definitely. Dragon Ball Heroes, crossover. You would definitely strongly consider putting this unit on there. On those particular categories, just simply for the fact that there's not a ton of units. But she'll definitely pull her weight on no matter what team you put her on. Preferably on a team she's going to be useful. But moving on. Demigra, Makuka form. Is that? I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But the second, sorry, probably should have drank more water before starting this. But this unit dropped by itself without a Dokkan Awakening in the last Dragon Ball Heroes crossover event. But he got a Dokkan, which makes him less underwhelming. Sadly, they give him the physical type, so there's the man's walking with a gimp already. Extreme type key, plus 3 HP attack defense, plus 100%. Odds are you've probably got better leader skills at this point, especially for monotype. But he greatly raises attack for one turn by 50%. Causes supreme damage. Supreme damage, I don't know why they just didn't give him immense, but I guess they just hate him. Attack and defense plus 120%, very strong. Basically, as soon as he comes out, he gets that. Extreme class allies key plus 3 and defense plus 30%. So if you're running him alongside other units like Debura and Toa, then you're going to get some mileage out of that, out of this particular part of his passive. All enemies attack and defense negative 20%, not a big deal, but sometimes when you're in endgame content, that tiny little bit adds up. Plus additional 10% attack per crossover category ally on the team. So if you're putting him alongside like the Debura, the new Debura and the new Toa, already that's an extra 20% attack. So he's going to hit like a truck and he's going to take less damage. So I'm loath to call him tanky because he's not really tanky. But where he's going to link well, the categories that you can technically make an argument for putting him on, like Dragon Ball Heroes and crossover again. I mean, he's good, but it's really just too limited, in my opinion. He feels too limited. But if you can get him, if you can Dokkan Awaken him, slap him on like a crossover or a Dragon Ball Heroes team, alongside Debura and Toa and some of the other extreme type units that fit on that category, he's definitely a good addition there. Alright. Wow. I feel like I'm kind of slowing down here. But we're getting towards the end, so we'll keep on trucking. So Super Mira was another unit that we got in the last crossover event that they finally gave him a Dokkan. And he is Stomp on Your Nuts Super Mira now. Let's pop over to SSR Viewer. He's already seeming kind of tanky here, just looking at his super attack. Greatly raises defense by 50% and causes supreme damage to the enemy. So, again, don't know why they didn't give him events damage, but it is what it is. Attack plus 100% and defense plus 50%. I don't know why they just didn't give him 100 and 100. Seems kind of strange. Disables enemies guard. Attacked enemies attack and defense negative 20% for 2 turns. Plus an additional attack plus 50% and high chance, again a coin flip, of performing a critical hit when the attacked enemy is in attack down status. Now, considering... I was going to say, if you... Gosh, what was it? I think it was the Debura that came out and basically debuffed automatically. Let me double check. Well, you know what? Let's not bother. Let's not even bother. But if you pair him up with the Debura, he's going to be critical hitting like a madman. So definitely a good candidate for just putting additional attack and sort of like working around this particular unit to make sure that he gets the most out of his out of what he's got. I did say that he was kind of tanky, but looking at him now, he's not as tanky as I thought he'd be, which is sad and unfortunate, but is what it is. His link skills don't really do him a ton of favors, as you can see here. Android Assault, Demonic Power, Berserker, Tough as Nails. How often do you see those? Not very. Like, you'll see Nightmare, Fear, and Faith, and Shattering the Limit more than you'll see those others get activated. But if you can get them to level 10, you can activate them. That makes them all the more better. Category: Resurrected Warriors, Androids, Time Travelers, Artificial Life Forms, Dragonball Heroes, Revenge, and Crossover. It's hard to make a case for categories for this guy. He's just not, like, he's a good unit, don't get me wrong. Comparing him to a lot of general pool SSR units, he's really good. But it can be kind of tough to put him on any of these. Like, if you're an endgame player, odds are you have an Androids team that's extremely good already. And you don't need this guy to fill a slot. Time Travelers, odds are if you're an endgame player, you have a Time Travelers category team made up of nothing but Goku, Black, and Zamasu. And you don't need to run anything else because it's just... they all link amazingly and there's just no space for this guy. I mean, you could probably make a case for this guy in Resurrected Warriors, but he's not really going to have a whole lot of friends there. Artificial Life Forms, Revenge, highly unlikely. Odds are you're going to be running like Nothing But Booze and Nothing But Cell on this particular category. Because there's really no reason for you to run anything else in this category. Anyway, again, this is another unit you run around alongside other extreme types in Dragon Ball Heroes and Crossover, and that's more than likely where this unit is going to stay, especially if you're more endgame centric as a player in terms of how long you've been playing and what you've been pulling. He's not bad, again, but he's not earth-shattering. Even with the Dokkan Awakening, it's kind of sad. Kind of sad to see. But when he fits into a category and he has some help, he'll pull his weight. He'll pull his weight, for sure. Oh, man. Probably should have waited till in the morning to do this, but it's whatever. Here's another unit we got in the last Dragon Ball Heroes crossover event. The Dark Mask King. Who could it be? So mysterious. Ooh. But he gets a Dokkan Awakening. And hopefully he's not disappointing. Hopefully he's not entirely disappointing. Dark Mask King, Intelligence. So sadly he's already out the gate with a Gimp. He's got a limp to his leg already just by being Intelligence. Just like the last guy, last couple guys, he buffs his specific monotype extreme. But he gets immense damage and he lowers his attack and defense by 20%. Pretty good, pretty good. Attack and defense plus 100% just for having the unit out. Boom, doubles all of his stats. Pretty good. Plus an additional defense plus 100% for 5 turns after receiving an attack. makes him pretty tanky. I mean, he takes an attack and he's all of a sudden he has basically triple the defense, really. He guards against all attacks when there's another Dragonball Heroes category ally attacking the same turn. More than likely, you're going to be running this unit on a team with other Dragonball Heroes category allies, so this is something that's going to come up quite a bit. Makes him even tankier, which is great. And he recovers 10% of damage dealt as HP. That's actually pretty wild. The only other unit I can think of that does that off the top of my head is like the Tech Super Boo. And that particular unit's not that great. But this guy is actually pretty good. Don't know if you'd run him on most of his categories. Like Pure Saiyans, maybe? If you need that type coverage, if you want something that's like gonna come out swinging, tanky, it's pretty good. Time Travelers, no. Vegeta's family, maybe. Vegeta and Trunks as units are usually pretty disappointing. So you might make a case for this particular unit on that team, category team. Dragonball Heroes and Crossover is, again, more than likely where you're going to be putting this particular unit. But with Dragonball Heroes category allies, he becomes super tanky. Definitely worth considering on those teams, especially if you wind up somehow pulling all the other extreme type units from this banner and no Super Saiyan 4s. One last SSR, and we're pretty much done. We'll do like a multi or two. Is the Black Mask Saiyan? Who could it be? Mysterious. Ooh. No idea who this particular person is. But if I remember correctly, this is another unit that showed up in the last crossover and is getting a Dokkan Awakening now. Boom. That pose looks awfully familiar. Dark Final Flash for the super attack. Causes immense damage. Great. Lowers attack and defense. Even better. 20%. Not great. But I guess every little bit counts. I mean, if you're going to be running him on an extreme team, like after a round or two, you're gonna start shredding single enemies, and totally crippling them. Attack and defense plus 160% when ki is 6 or more, and ki plus 2 when ki is 10 or more. How often, are you not going to be walking out of the gate on most teams where you aren't gonna have 6 ki? So basically, I don't even know why they even put this arbitrary requirement there. It like only serves to like piss off newbies when they get this unit and they're struggling to make teams where they can get like 5-6 ki starting out the gate. But if you can get him to 10 ki, he basically gets his super anyway, so that's really not too bad. Plus an additional attack plus 60% and medium chance, what is that, 25%? Yep. Performing a critical hit when there are another 3 or more crossover category allies on the team, so that's another theme that you'll see that he works. These units work well together. That's the whole shtick. You can definitely make an argument for this character on a lot of teams. Pure Saiyans, definitely would strongly consider, especially because he's AGL. Time Travelers, again, more than likely you have a team full of Goku, Black, and Zamasu. You don't need this unit on it. Vegeta's family, yeah, absolutely. I would 100% consider putting this unit on a Vegeta's family team. Dragonball Heroes and Crossover, again, I would strongly consider it. Even if I wasn't running him alongside the other extreme AGLs, like I was just plopping him in there with a bunch of the Super Saiyan 4s. This guy's got the link skills and the passive skill to make you not regret choosing to put this particular unit on the particular teams. So gosh, we're all done. So what's the verdict on this particular banner? Like, the units are really good. The odds of you walking away from a 50 Dragonstone multi with at least one of these units is 100%. You definitely want at least one or two of these units because this is your best opportunity to get them, and they fit quite well into various teams depending on what you get. Would I spend more than 50 or like 100 Dragonstones? That depends on where you are and what you're looking forward to. Because we have the New Year's banner coming up fairly soon. Not really that long now before we hit that point. And don't forget, boys and girls, for the last 2 New Years, we got a banner that basically was a step-up banner. So for about 200 Dragonstones, you were getting category leads, you were getting monotype leads, and at the very end was a special treat of a guaranteed LR. And as I've said before in a lot of previous videos, a guaranteed LR is 100% worth it for 200 Dragonstones, especially considering all the other stuff that you're going to get with it. And even the worst LRs are still usually better than general pool SSRs and TURs. Even a lot of Dragonfly Dokkan Fest exclusives. Gosh, it's still too early in the morning. So my suggestion is to, especially if you're a newbie, especially if you're new to the game, especially if you are sort of like middling intermediate in terms of the time and resources that you spent in the game, throw 50 Dragonstones at this banner like bare minimum, because odds are you're going to get something really good that you can run. But I would make sure that you have at least 400 stones from this point onward. Because I do believe we have Blue Brothers coming as well. The Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta LR, which is extraordinarily strong. Very strong unit coming up. But the odds of you pulling it are kind of low. But you want bare minimum 400 Dragonstones for the New Year's banner. That's going to creep up on you really fast. I mean, we're looking at a little over a month before that banner drops. So you want 400 Dragonstones so you can get 2 guaranteed LRs. I mean, there's no guarantee that the LRs are going to be good, but there's also the chance that you might pull like Tech Broly or Cauliflower Kale, in which case that's 200 Dragonstones well spent. So definitely something to consider. But we're going to do a multi-summon here, at least one, because Chunky Beef wants one of these Super Saiyan 4s, preferably Vegeta, but I'll be happy with, we're not getting anything good out of this, are we? Preferably Vegeta, but I'll be happy with Broly as well. Ooh, something for Super Saiyan God. It's probably a junk multi. Come on, give me something. Hey! OG Toem. I don't know if she got a Dokkan. Yay, Bardock, cool. So I already have one of these Toas, so cool. I get a dupe. That's great. The Bardock. He's, as we discussed before, he's pretty good, but he doesn't get a Dokkan Awakening. So we kind of have to wait a year to see if his Dokkan Awakening is going to be any better. You know what? I want some monkeys. Let's do one more. It's not like we're hurting for Dragonstones right now. And I have 0 plans to do, to pull on Blue Brothers. We're getting 2 rainbows, though, so far. It's pretty good. But that's not good. I think we got a junk multi, fellas. Oh. Nice. I have one of those already. The Demigra. The Makyuku form. I have one of these guys as well. The Super Mira. So, we got some dupes, but no monkeys. It's sad. I was really hoping for Vegeta, but is what it is. I don't think I'm going to be spending any more than what I already have on this particular banner, regardless of how good some of these units are. Because I just have, like, no luck. I was hoping to get something better, but it is what it is. Alright, fellas. I hope that your pulls are better than mine, but that's a pretty low bar to hurdle, so more than likely you'll get better stuff than I did. But have a have a wonderful day, and best of luck.